Computer G, lock onto A. Is that your final answer?
I think the final answer was D. Well,
for dope?
I guess it depends on what we're talking about. The final answer that won him the 20 million rupees was A. But the final answer to the question at the beginning of the film was D. It is written.
We're talking about Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah, I was wondering when you were going to announce that. So this is our movie review for Slumdog Millionaire. We're 10 years late.
It's 10 years late.
Yeah.
And it's not technically a Bollywood film.
No, it is not a Bollywood film.
Although it had some great Indian actors in it.
Like Irfan Khan.
Irfan Khan, one of my favorites. One of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
You know that, right?
I do know that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
What did you think about the movie?
It was phenomenal, and I don't know why it took us this long to watch it.
Probably because we're just stupid, is my guess.
We don't go see a lot of films. We just don't.
But Friday, we're going to Padvamonte.
That is a different review. Yes, we are going to go see that. Now, there's a little bit of confusion because the title has been changed to Padmavat. There is not supposed to be an I on the end of it anymore. But the movie theater out here for January 25th and 26th, it does say Padmavati with an I on the end. Anyway,
I derailed myself there.
This is our movie review about Slumdog Millionaire.
Yes.
So we don't go see a lot of films. So we didn't go see this in the theaters. And it took us this long to even buy it and watch it.
The dude, Jamal, who's the guy who played Jamal?
Dev Patel.
Dev Patel is like the greatest non-Bollywood actor who acts in kind of Indian films.
We saw him in Lying.
He was outstanding
also.
in Lying, and
yes.
he's also in The Boy Who Knew to Infinity, which
we haven't seen yet.
I haven't seen that yet, and but it looks like it would have a Slumdog feel to it. It very much has a where you would be like, "Wow, that was really, really good."
Okay. Well, this was phenomenal. I loved it.
What did you like most about the movie?
I loved the thread that went through the whole film with Jamal and Latika.
Me too, because that's me and you.
Yeah, that would be us.
That's me and you. We grew
except
up together.
I wouldn't be captured and held captive to be made into a prostitute.
Yes.
So there's that.
Yes.
But yes, because now you and I didn't meet when we were small children like they did. Mm-hmm. We met when we were teenagers.
Yes. Yes.
Back
when the professor had hair. Oh.
That is true.
You don't even know.
I know. You had a mullet because it was 1990.
Come on, what are you doing? You just ruined my internet cred with that. What are you doing?
Well, it was 1990. All guys in America had mullets in 1990.
So we see this Slumdog Millionaire. When it first came out, I kind of avoided it because it was called Slumdog Millionaire. And it was about, like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. And I was just like, this seems way too weird, way too weird.
And in America, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire was past its prime at that point. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, okay, that's probably going to be kind of boring because we already know what the game show is about. And so we knew that he was on, India's version of Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Mm-hmm. We did not know that this was going to be, like, his whole life story.
I loved how the movie played out by
with
the question.
Each question.
So you give a question and an answer and an interrogation, and why did he know it? And then we saw a piece of his life on why he knew that.
He knew the answer.
The storytelling was phenomenal.
Yes,
the direction was phenomenal.
So good. His brother Salim was a jerk his whole life.
And let this be a warning to you.
Yeah.
If you're a jerk as a little kid, you're going to be a jerk as a grown-up.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't be a Salim.
Yeah,
don't be a Salim. There's no reason to be a Salim
right now. Get out of here.
Yeah. Okay, so we knew from early childhood that Jamal was going to have trouble with his older brother Salim. Okay. Mm-hmm. The scene where Jamal is in the bathroom. Okay. In America, we would call that an outhouse. Mm-hmm. Okay. So he's in the outhouse trying to go to the bathroom.
It was a shy one. He said it's not coming out as
right.
shy.
And Salim was upset because Salim was making money off of this outhouse. And so there was a guy who wanted to use it, but Jamal was in there. And so Jamal didn't leave. So Salim is mad because he's not making money off of this. So they hear a helicopter come overhead. And they know it is Big B's helicopter.
Were you excited?
I was so excited. I was really hopeful that he would actually be in the film acting. They did show him, but they only showed like clips from old movies. So the guy who gets out of the helicopter is not Big B.
Right. But you don't know that.
But you don't know, right. And so Jamal's excited because, like me, he loves Big B.
And he's got a picture of Big B that
he carries with him all the time.
Yes.
And so he hears the helicopter.
Makes a hard. This is his fanship.
Hold on. Don't get ahead of it, okay? He's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the bathroom. I got to get out of here so I can go see Big B. Except Salim, knowing Jamal loves Big B, locks him in the bathroom as punishment for not getting out of there in time. So Jamal, he's trying to get out.
He demonstrates he's a huge fan.
And instead of climbing the wall to go over, he jumps down into the human waste.
Holding the picture up. He grabs his nose and holds the picture up, and down he goes.
And he gets out, and he's covered.
Oh, he's covered,
head to toe in human waste, except for the picture. And he runs over there and goes through the crowd.
Yes,
and of course, people are like, "Oh my gosh, get out of the way! This kid is covered with human waste." So he gives the picture to was he calling him Amitabh, or was he calling him Mr. Bakchan?
No, he was saying the full name.
Oh, Amitabh Bakchan.
Yeah, yes.
And so then he goes, gives him a picture, he gets his autograph. He's super excited.
Yes.
And then what does Salim do?
He
takes the picture and sells it for a couple of coins.
I am convinced that Salim was adopted and he's really a Porky kid, because that's what the Porkies do.
Okay, so we don't know yet at this point. We're guessing based on their names that they're Muslim. We don't know until they're out there with their mom and she's, washing clothing.
When it was like radical Hindus that came through?
Yes. And apparently that was supposed to be a depiction, a very small depiction of the Bombay riots. And so she gets killed. And so now Salim and Jamal are on their own, and they're basically just two street kids.
Right?
And they're young. Yeah. I mean, they look like they're maybe 9 and 6. Okay, they're young boys. And Salim is like, I'm the oldest, and I'm the man here, and you're gonna follow me. And Jamal he's just a good kid.
Good kid.
And he's compliant and he's respectful. And so he's like, okay, even though there's nobody telling him, hey, you don't have to listen to this punk. He just goes along with it because that's the culture. He's my big brother. I must listen to him.
But there's a wrinkle in the plan because
Latika,
her mom is killed.
She's also a street kid.
Because her parents were killed in the riots.
And they're out on their own, and it's cold, and it's raining, and Salim and Jamal have found some shelter, and Jamal wants to invite her in, and Salim's like, whatever, no. We don't need a third musketeer, okay? We can be Athos and Porthos, and we don't need a third musketeer.
And he said, by the way, we don't even know the third name.
We don't know the third name.
She can't come in because we don't know the third musketeer's name.
And why don't they know the name? Because they're not paying attention in school. They're studying the book in school, but they're not paying attention because they're too busy.
Well, the teacher just crack them in the head with it.
Yes. Remember back in the day when we were small kids?
Yeah, we got paddled.
In school, that could happen. Nowadays, that never happens in American schools.
In this movie, then...
it basically follows their life.
Yeah, and I don't want to give everything away because maybe there are people like us who haven't seen it.
10 years later who haven't seen it. Should we say there are spoilers in this movie review 10 years later?
And so you kind of, you see him on the game show answering these questions, but then you start finding out the story of how he got there.
Well, he gets there because the guy thinks that he cheated. That's why he's in the police station.
You just jump completely into the... No one said anything about the police station.
We started the movie almost in the police station.
That's true. Okay.
They start with him at the game show, and then all of a sudden he's being tortured and interrogated.
Hey,
and then
India,
we find
you got a problem with your cops.
And then we find out that Irfan Khan is like the police chief here. And so he's curious, okay?
How about the fat Indian cop he's just on this kid?
Yes.
Waterboarding him, beating him, slapping him.
And Irfan's like, okay,
he's not talking. He's a tough kid.
Right. And how many times have we told you not to do this?
Yeah.
And so...
Hit him with a car battery, electrocute him?
Right.
Oh.
So Irfan Khan knows there's something with this kid. I want to hear the story, Convince me that you're not cheating. And so we see his life story play out over the course of the whole game show. And it comes up to real time on the night that the first night that the game show ends, and they're at the penultimate question at that point, which is the one right before the last question. And the game show host tries to muck it up on purpose and gives him the wrong answer.
You can tell as they're having this conversation in between, like, when they go to commercial and they start talking.
He doesn't like Jamal.
Well, it's because he's the only one from the ghetto that's made it, and he enjoys that. He doesn't want a second one to make it.
And he's arrogant, and he's selfish.
Computer G!
Yes. And he keeps denigrating him. Oh, you're a chaiwala. You're a chaiwala. Right. And you could just the denigration just dripping off of his lips. And so he's got an
nothing wrong. Hey, nothing wrong with the chaiwala. Nothing wrong. Hey,
that's my point.
Nothing wrong with
that's my point. So he's got an in with the cops. And so after they're done, he has the cops wait there at the door and tells him, don't be late tomorrow. Opens the door. There are the cops. They arrest him. So now we're up at real time. And it's the...
And you even see, like, he tried to set him up with the wrong answer. You remember?
Yep.
Like, he tried to give him the wrong answer for this thing.
Exactly.
And the kid knew. He was just like,
So long story short... we see his whole life story. We see Salim mess him over again and again and again. We see him constantly looking for Latika because he loves her and coming to her aid and trying to rescue her, and her feeling at some point like she's damaged goods, she's going to ruin his life, she's going to be nothing but trouble for him, and trying to save him.
You look very beautiful today.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
You do.
Thank you.
Extra beautiful.
Oh, thank you. That's extra kind of you. So he keeps trying to... Oh, my goodness.
That's how it's done, fellas.
Wow. Okay.
There. Take notes. That one's free.
Anyhow, so he even tries to pretend to be a cook or a dishwasher to get into the house. And she's like, you're going to be killed, okay? Because the big-time gangster, he basically owns her. And Salim works for him. And there's a scene where Jamal tells her, I'm going to wait at the train station for you every day at 5 o'clock. And he sees her, and he's trying to get to her, and Salim sees her.
Yeah.
And Salim goes and grabs her and hauls her back, and then they cut her face. I didn't like that.
This film was great.
It was phenomenal.
I didn't think a film put her on a game show like I would care.
It was so good.
Irfan Khan was outstanding in this.
He was. And just the way they told the story was so awesome.
The fat cop that was I love that guy. That guy played a great job where he
How about when Irfan Khan said, you could use the exercise, go get me some lunch.
Or where he was like, oh, so she's like the ugly woman of the you know.
Oh, he basically called her a whore.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
ugly
basically
whore.
what he's calling her.
And
Jamal
the kid
goes
get up
nuts.
and just started pounding the cop. That was
and
awesome.
You could see Irfan's like, okay,
man.
but he has respect for this kid, okay? And so at the end, he realizes, you're not a cheat. I believe you. I think you're telling me the truth. And he releases him.
This is bizarrely plausible.
Yes.
Was what he said.
Right.
Bizarrely plausible.
Right. And so he releases him. He goes back. And the whole reason that he's on the game show is because he knows Latika watches. And he's trying...
Yes, that's the only reason. He could care less about... Because Irfan even said, you don't even care about the money, do you? He's like, no.
Because what does he have to lose? He didn't have that money in the first place. He has a job... So he's not living on the streets anymore. He has a job. He's trying to find the woman that he loves. And so when he's at the last question and he has to use his final lifeline, which is phone a friend, the only phone number he knows is his brother. But Salim had finally done the right thing, and he had finally set Latika free and given her his phone and said, whatever you do, keep this phone on you. Well, she foolishly leaves it in the vehicle. And then when she's watching this on TV and realizing he's phoning a friend and he's phoning his brother, she runs back and gets it and picks up at the last minute. And she doesn't know the answer.
I don't know.
She doesn't know the answer. But he knows.
But she is because it was what was the third Musketeer's name?
Yes, that's the question. The name of the third Musketeer. She doesn't know.
She knows the joke because there were three of them, and she really wasn't supposed to be part of it. Right.
But he knows that she's safe, and so he's happy. And so he basically
care less.
Basically tells the host, I don't know the answer to this. And so he just guesses, and he gets it right.
Didn't he get to a 50-50? No, that was...
the final lifeline, the 50-50 was used on the cricket question, remember?
Right. Which I was wrong.
We were both wrong.
Yeah.
We thought it was A because we had heard the guy's name when he was over at the mobster's house. And so
Jack Hobbs.
Right. Now, all of our Indian friends probably know that. But we're in America. Cricket is not a game that's played over here, so we didn't know that. If you had asked us, you know, who's the all-time NFL rushing yards leader? Emmitt Smith. Okay, I would know that one. He's my favorite football player. But anyhow, so we didn't know. So he gets to the final question. It's phone a friend, calls his brother. The girlfriend answers. Meanwhile, the brother is back at the mobster's house.
Watching it. They're watching it on TV.
No, he's in the tub. The mobster's watching it.
Yeah.
The brother, Salim, is in the tub in the money. Okay, he's got all the money on him. He's like buried underneath with his head sticking out. And he's got his gun because he knows the mobster's watching and he's going to come in there. So he kills the mobster, but then all the mobster's henchmen kill him. So Salim is gone.
And so at the very, he wins. He wins all the money.
And
he gets the girl. And then the payoff is at the very, very end.
Wasn't that awesome?
Where they break into like Bollywood with the dancing.
During the credits.
Yes. We saw,
that was so good.
And I loved how they did the credits because you saw them in 3 stages. The little kid, the middle kid, the adult. I liked how they did that. Was awesome.
Yes, that was great. And then you got to see even the little Jamal and the little Latika dancing together.
Now,
very cute.
We talked about this. If Movie Community College was a real place and you enrolled to study Indian films, I think we would start with this because it's a great introduction to Indian films to Americans,
it is not technically
even though it's
an
technically
Indian
not.
film.
Because you could sit somebody down, watch this, and then say, what did you like about this?
Yes.
What did you dislike about this? Because then that would help tailor, like, where are you going with what you're going to show them.
There were enough elements in this film that if you did not know it wasn't an Indian film, you would think it was an Indian film. Because there were, would you agree?
Yes.
There were some high-profile Indian actors. There was a little bit of song and dance. The way they told the story, the police corruption. So definitely... the interplay between some of the Hindus and the Muslims. So there were enough elements in this film that if you didn't know it was an Indian, you would think it was. So I agree with you. We even told our son, for people that have never watched an Indian film before, we would actually recommend Slumdog Millionaire first before you start watching any other Indian films. Because it was phenomenal, and there's enough in there where you're going to be able to go watch a legitimate, you know, Indian or Bollywood film and say, oh, okay, I get this.
Okay.
Final grade?
What is the grade that you would assign to this movie?
Are you going to do it like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
I'm just asking you, what is it?
You're supposed to go, would it be A?
A? Come on, that's just stupid.
Yes. Well, you could mix it up and say, would would it be D?
All right, so what is the grade?
I would give it an A+.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, it is.
Computer G! A+!
A+?
If I had confetti, I'd shoot it now.
Yes.
So,
what was your final grade?
A+, easy.
Yeah,
This thing was outstanding.
easy.
So,
Yeah, great movie.
Next movies we're going to be watching, Life of Pi.
Which is also not an Indian film.
We're going to be watching Padvamonte. We will be down at the Tempe
theater.
Pollock Theaters at the 9:45 showing. If you see this hat backwards, you know it's the professor there. What up? Come up and say, what up, G? What up? And then I don't know what else we're going to watch besides that. I haven't decided yet.
I'm a little nervous about Life of Pi because Ang Lee is the director.
Yeah, well, we'll get over that.
I'm a little nervous.
But Irfan Khan will balance it out.
I hope so. Thank you for watching our videos. Will you please subscribe to our channel? And will you please give this video a thumbs up? Thank you.